When you book, my hot tip is to ask them if there's secure parking or parking that's not visible from the street, or even better, if it's close to your room, if you can literally look out your window and see your bike. That's always reassuring as well. Hey adventurer, I'm Bridget Hallam from Throw Your Leg Over, and today we're talking about keeping your valuables safe when you're on an adventure. And that might be a day ride, or it might be an adventure that is months or even years long. And by the end of this episode, you'll have simple strategies, a simple process to keep your precious items safe and secure. It's a question that Alan and I are often asked about when we're on our big adventures around Europe or in Australia. How do we keep things safe? What do we do about security? So my goal for this episode for you is just to have some simple habits that you can use every time you kick your stand down, so that you know that you've done the things that you need to do to keep your valuables safe. I'm going to start with your personal valuables, like your phone, your wallet, etc. And then I'm going to talk about your bike valuables. And this is obviously your gear, your helmet, your jacket, other gear that you have on your bike. And the third thing I'm going to cover off on is when you're staying overnight at accommodation. So if we start with your personal items, phone, wallet, everything else that you like to take with you anywhere and everywhere. Obviously, you need to keep them safe when you're out riding. And the easiest tip I have for you here is to consider having a bag of some sort to keep all these things in at all times. I, at the moment, have a bum bag, which I just sling across my body when I'm riding pillion. My phone's in there, my wallet's in there, my GoPro is in there, all the things are in there. Alan has a small backpack that he carries with him, and when we're riding, he rolls that up and puts it in his tank bag. Another option is a leg bag or thigh bag. I'm toying with the idea of getting one of these, so if you have one and have some feedback on what they're like to wear when you're riding, I would love to hear from you. So that's the easiest thing, is just have a bag of some sort where all those things live, and then it's super easy. Like Alan, you might carry it in your tank bag, or you might put it in your top box, or like me, you might have it actually on your person when you're riding. But it just makes everything easier. You don't have to think too hard. And this is what we want. We want like an easy process that doesn't take up too many brain calories, and you can just rinse and repeat. The next thing that you want to keep safe, of course, is your bike gear. So, for example, if you've pulled up at a cafe or a bakery to get something to eat or a coffee, you need to make a decision if you're going to take your jacket and helmet with you, and your gloves, mainly. There might be something else, but they're the three things that you really do want to keep safe every single time. You need to make a decision if you're going to bring all your gear with you, which is obviously a bit cumbersome and, it's a bit of a pain. Or do you want to leave the gear with your bike? And this is where you need to think about the security. First and foremost, the easiest thing to do in this situation is to park your bike near where you're going to be. So if it's just a few meters away, you'll feel more comfortable leaving your gear on the bike. If you can't park really close to where you're going to be having your coffee or staying, if it's a bit of a walk, then you have to think a bit more about your security. If you have a top box that's lockable, that fits your helmet or your jacket, you can put them in there, obviously. We don't always have a top box, so that option is not always available to us. What we do have with Beauty, one of our bikes, is we have a coiled security cord, I'm going to call it. I don't know the proper name for it. And it's lockable. So we can thread that through our helmets, thread it around Beauty, lock it, and then we're comfortable and confident that the helmets are safe. I generally leave my gloves inside my helmet. Alan prefers not to. That's up to you. You just need to consider if it's going to rain, of course. You can close your visor, but maybe a little bit of rain might get in. For my jacket, I sometimes leave it on, like I don't take it off, especially if it's a bit colder. If it's hot or raining, I still often take it with me and I just sling it over the back of my chair or wherever I'm sitting to have my coffee. There's another option if you want to lock it on your bike. I know some people have a security cord that they slip through one sleeve of their jacket and then lock it onto their bike, similar to what I just described with our helmets. So that's another option. Gloves, it's up to you if you want to keep them inside your helmet or maybe just pop them in your top box or your tank bag. That's up to you. One thing I'd say about the security cables or cords is if you can, make them really visible and obvious so that if someone a bit sus is having a look at your bike and your gear, they can easily see that there is a security cable. And that might just deter them from looking a bit closer. But of course, always trust your gut, trust your instincts, trust that little voice inside your head that is maybe questioning if it's okay to leave your gear unlocked or highly visible. If there's a little niggle there somewhere inside you, listen to that. Some other tips with leaving your bike: lock your panniers if you can. I know not all panniers are lockable, but if you can, make sure they're locked. Just do a quick check. If you have a top box and it's lockable, I think most are, then just make sure that it's locked. If there's anything that you can't lock, for example, if you've got soft panniers, just try not to leave anything valuable in there. Just leave things like your socks and jocks, things that if they go missing are not going to be a big deal and create an upheaval. The flip side of that is to accept that you can't keep everything 100% secure. There is always going to be a level of risk. And as motorcyclists, we know that comes with the territory. There will always be a level of risk. But what we're trying to do here is just minimize that risk so that you cannot worry about your gear and you can enjoy your adventure. And the last thing I say here about your bike, keeping it secure, make sure you take your keys with you. Don't be like me and accidentally leave your keys in your bike and then wander off. I have done that once or twice, I'm going to admit that. So always take your keys with you. I know that's blindingly obvious, but it's so easy when you're a little bit distracted or you're desperately in need of caffeine and maybe you're not so focused. It's sometimes easy to forget to take your keys. Oh, Lordy. So we've covered off on your personal valuables. We've covered off on your bike gear that is precious. And the third thing we're going to talk about is when you're staying overnight at accommodation. If you're camping, my suggestion is to park your bike next to your tent so it's nice and close. Park it so it's leaning away from your tent so you don't have to worry about it falling on the tent in the middle of the night and falling on you. If it's really close to your tent, it will be less attractive to someone who's sussing it out because they know that you are very close by. If you're staying in hard roof accommodation like a pub or a motel or Airbnb, when you book, my hot tip is to ask them if there's secure parking or parking that's not visible from the street, or even better if it's close to your room, if you can literally look out your window and see your bike. That's always reassuring as well. When you arrive at your accommodation, I'd suggest always taking your valuables in first, and this is your personal items, your wallet, your phone, your bike gear. Take them to your room, close your room, come back, get the rest. Get your socks and jocks and your t-shirts second time round. I would suggest never ever leaving your valuables on your bike while you're going in to check in. For your bike itself, once you've unpacked, lock your handlebars if your bike does this, and by lock your handlebars, what I mean is some bikes you can turn the key to a certain position, you can turn your handlebars fully to the, let me think about that, fully anti-clockwise, and then they lock in that position. Take the keys out and your handlebars are locked in that position. And what that means, if someone tries to wheel your bike away, they just end up going around in circles. So lock your handlebars if you can, if your bike has that. Lock your top box if you have one. And your panniers, if you have panniers that you leave on your bike and you just take the contents of your panniers out when you stay somewhere, lock your panniers. Our panniers are hard panniers. They lock onto the bike, so we have to make sure they are locked onto the bike. When we're riding, when we stop at accommodation, we actually unlock them and take them off the bike completely and take them into our room. But I know for some people, they have like inner bags, so where you can just open your pannier, grab the bag, take the bag out and walk into your accommodation, leave the panniers on your bike. Just make sure they're locked on, the panniers, if they do lock. And then most of all, once you're settled inside, just enjoy your evening. Enjoy reminiscing about the day. Enjoy your adventure. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about your bike. You've done everything that you can to keep it secure. Now relax and enjoy yourself. So this is what I want for you. I want a really simple process that you can rinse and repeat, do it again and again and again, so you don't even think about it when you rock up to accommodation or a cafe or wherever you are. You're not constantly having to make decisions about what to do to keep your valuables safe. You know what to do. You've done it 1,000 times before. You do it again. You barely even think about it. So these are my tips for you. And what I encourage you to do is actually develop your own routine, your own process that feels good for you, that feels right for you, that works with your gear and whatever security locks you have with you on your bike. Create your process, create your system, create your routine, rinse and repeat so that you don't even have to think about it. It just becomes an automatic habit, and that will then free up all this mental space for you where you can just enjoy your adventure. And this is the whole point. We just want to enjoy our adventures. So I hope that helps you. If you have any other security tips that you do, I would love to know. I'd love to hear from you. So feel free to send me an email or a message and let me know. So hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to give me a review, I would love that. And I will see you next week.